Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you'll please stand for our invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you once again for the gathering of council and city officials to do the government of our city. We ask you to guide us and direct us and give us wisdom in our decision making, what's best for the citizens of our city. We ask these blessings in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please over the roll, please.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Here. Thank you, Meredith. First order of business is the approval of our council meeting minutes from our last meeting, October 17th, and you've had an opportunity to look those over. Council, now would be the opportunity to make any edits, or if there are none to be had, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And the minutes are approved. Ms. Reed, if you'll get us started with Small Business Saturday. I've got a proclamation here, but want you to tell everybody a little bit about it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So traditionally, Small Business Saturday is an event that was started by American Express. It is celebrated or observed nationwide, and it is to bring attention to the great impact that small businesses have on our community. So the traditional wisdom right now is that 68% of every dollar spent, so 68 cents to each dollar that you spend with a small business gets recirculated back into your community. And that is one of the many reasons why these small businesses are so crucial to maintain their livelihood for the health of our city. So it's traditionally the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So you have Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, kind of just all flows together. And we would certainly like to just make everyone aware that that's happening and encourage folks to come downtown, support your local small businesses or any other small business that kind of moves you, but definitely keep your small businesses in mind at this time of the year.
Thank you. I'm going to present this to you in a minute, but you used a word during your narrative, and the word was impact. I also kind of tricked you to come up here because I did want to recognize your achievement this week, recognized by the Chamber of Commerce as an Impact Award winner, the inaugural class of that, so just wanted to take a minute to congratulate you.
Well, thank you.
Well-deserved honor. This proclamation, as Lily says, I'll try to go through it quickly. It says celebrate local small business and contributions they make to our local economy. She already used those numbers, so I won't repeat them for you. Advocacy groups, public and private organizations across the country endorse Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Communities across the country are being asked to support small businesses and merchants and Small Business Saturdays throughout the year. One of the Cartersville's virtues is a unique array of locally owned and operated independent businesses which are part of this tradition and heritage of our community. Business owners and operators are committed to Cartersville, contribute to the local economy, offer quality jobs for our residents, engage in civic concerns, and are essential to our success as a community. Our support of these businesses is critical to maintaining a vibrant community that sustains our city socially, environmentally, and financially. We value the businesses located in downtown Cartersville and throughout Bartow County and celebrate the diversity of the goods and services they provide. Therefore, I, Matthew J. Santini, Mayor of the City of Cartersville, do hereby proclaim November 30th, 2019 as Small Business Saturday and encourage residents to support our businesses by buying locally on November 30th and throughout the year. Here, give this to you. She didn't move for us. All right, Mr. Lovell, you've got the next item.
Yes, Mayor. At this time, I would like to have the mayor open up a public hearing for the TEFRA notice that was published.
And I will open up a public hearing for the TEFRA hearing. Anybody wishing to step forward and speak for or against the proposed work at Cartersville Gardens may do so at this time.
Mayor, just to explain what this hearing is for, it's pursuant to Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code. The City of Cartersville has to hold a public hearing with respect to the proposed plan to finance by the Athens Housing Authority of revenue bonds in the amount of $14 million, not to exceed, for the purposes of financing the cost of acquisition, rehabilitation, and redevelopment of an existing residential rental housing community known as Cartersville Garden Apartments, located at 378 Old Mill Road. In addition, these notes shall not ever represent or constitute a debt or pledge of faith or credit or the taxing power of the city or any other political subdivision, and shall solely be secured and payable from collateral provided by the borrower. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak on these issues? I'm also required to ask the city clerk if she received any written comments prior to this date regarding this matter. No. Okay. With that being said, we have held the public hearing required by the Internal Revenue Service, and I would request you close it.
I will fill that request and I will close the public hearing. That all we got to do?
That's it.
All right, next item.
Next item, Mayor, is an actual resolution authorizing the Athens Housing Authority to issue notes to finance the project we just discussed in the public hearing. It has been properly advertised. They plan to purchase Cartersville Garden Apartments for an amount not to exceed $14 million. This is not a pledge of the faith of the taxing power of the city or any other political subdivision herein. And this group, these bonds that are being issued are not just for the Cartersville Gardens project. It involves 6 other projects around the state that they're acquiring, older dilapidated public housing projects or federally financed one that they will be rehabilitating. This one happens to be in our community. There's 5 others around the state. They are required by law to get the permission of the housing authority that has jurisdiction within our city limits to actually do this transaction, and also the permission of the mayor and city council. Our housing authority at their meeting, I believe it was Tuesday night, did approve this transaction, and at this time we are now recommending that it be approved by the mayor and council.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? If not, then a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
A second?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, council. Mr. Menino, you've got the next item, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As like the previous item, this also has to be opened in a public hearing. What this is approval of the capital improvements element short-term work program. We do this annually. It's a 5-year program, but based on the fact that the city has an adopted impact fee ordinance, we have to do it annually and submit it to the Department of Community Affairs and the Regional Commission for their review. This is the draft version. It's submitted to them. We can continue to make changes until that point. It'll come back for you for official adoption probably at the first meeting in January. With that, I recommend we open up a public hearing, and after that, we do recommend approval of the resolution allowing us to transmit this to the various agencies.
Okay. Thank you. Upon your recommendation, I'll open up a public hearing relative to the approval of the capital improvements element and ask anybody to step forward, speak for or against, that they do so at this time. Yes, sir, your name? Oh, I'm sorry. That's you. And seeing nobody, I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to council for consideration.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second that?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Ms. Brock, you have the next item.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this resolution will authorize the temporary closing of Ford Street north of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to allow for the rehabilitation of the area and the properties by the property owner. A temporary gate will be installed on said portion of Ford Street, and your approval of this resolution is recommended.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on this item?
I just have one little small question.
Yes, sir.
Does that include the whole 4th Street from MLK to the opposite end, section of 4th Street?
It's just
Just the
from
section.
the north part of it, MLK, where it goes behind the car wash and the shopping center, and it dead ends into a piece of property back there, and it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
go any further. It's that portion of Fourth Street.
Okay, I got you.
You good?
Fine.
All right, any other discussion? And if not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please. Ms. Brock.
Yes, this resolution will extend the current moratorium on all new applications for renovations or improvements at any properties within the current Cherokee Cassville Historic District as well as the Weston Historic District until March 6, 2020. The existing moratorium expired December 1st, I believe, and this one will extend it till March 6th of 2020.
All right, council, we talked about this, I think at work session at our last meeting, that it's just taken us more time to get where we need to get that policy written, and so wanted to extend that on the front end instead of extending it on the back end, so. Chair will entertain a motion.
I would like
Or-
to point
or if
out,
there's some
and-
conversation,
and
go ahead, yes.
I pointed that out to Tamara. I think the way this is described in the department summary doesn't really do justice to the resolution, because it doesn't stop new applications for renovations or improvements. It's more specific in what it prevents in the moratorium. Is that not correct, Keith?
That is correct. It's
Okay.
exactly the same as the previous one. It basically doesn't allow any new demolitions, subdivision of property, but it does allow other types of improvements and reviews by the Historic Preservation Commission in those areas.
Any other discussion? And if there is not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next one, please, Ms. Brock.
Yes, this is an agreement between the city and the Cartersville-Bartow County Convention and Visitors Bureau regarding the 1% tourism product development funds collected each year. This agreement will allow these funds to be utilized for the development of tourism product, events, and brick-and-mortar projects in the city or on behalf of the city. Prior to any expenditure, the CVB shall submit the budget and proposal to the city manager's office for approval. We will present those to you all sometime in 2020, and we request your approval of this agreement.
Okay.
So we were talking in work session, they'll send you like an overview of what their ideas are for the current year ahead.
Yes.
And then they, in turn, can spend it on what they so choose.
Yes, yes,
And I think the other point too, I think was important, that this isn't money that we're giving them, this is
No.
already set aside and we're just
Right.
now in agreement for them to spend it
Yes.
or use it.
yes.
I think that's important.
Thank you, I agree. Any other discussion? If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Hey, Chief.
Good evening. The city's speed detection permit is set to expire December 31st of this year, and we are submitting the paperwork for renewal of this permit, and I'm requesting the city council authorize the mayor to sign these documents, forms and documents.
Okay. Thank you, Chief, and I should have warned you I was going to ask you this. I know there's been some discussion occasionally in the community about where radar can be used and where it can't. Can you just give us just a general outline of where our officers can do radar and when we can't? or-
It varies. We have a permit and we have a list of streets on it. Public Works maintains that permit, and we have a copy of it on display at the police department. Every officer is issued, when it's updated, which the last time I think it was updated, probably Keith, a couple of years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And so they all have access to it. And I can't recite exactly where each street is, but it may be 1,000 feet here, maybe a half a mile there. You know, it's just,
But there's certain criteria, you can't do it in, with certain speed limits and
Yeah,
things like that.
streets have to be
That's
over
correct.
35 miles an hour.
that's correct.
In addition, the list is actually codified as part of the city code of ordinances, and it is available on MuniCode through the city's website, if you actually wanted to look and see which streets it is applicable for.
Okay.
And most there are also postings outside the city informing people that radar is allowed to be used within the city limits of the city.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion
Thank-
carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this item is for engineering services for a potential stormwater project. Stevenson Engineering is the firm that was selected, and the proposal is for $7,700, and it'll be paid for with stormwater funds. It is a budgeted item.
Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time for the Bob Jones Show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start us off there, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I'm thinking this may put me in contention for the title here. This is it's a personal best anyway.
Close, yeah.
First up, I think we have Cook Street manhole. This project was originally authorized in 2016, and we are thankfully beginning to wrap this up. It has been a long road, to say the least. We are here for a change order for our engineer on this project. As originally bid, it was anticipated to have an 8-week construction time. We are now 6 months into construction. We had issues with survey quality. The survey errors caused redesign. The redesign caused a resubmission to CSX for approval, and you can see how these things begin to mushroom. Anyway, the long story short is, at this stage, we feel like we can see the light at the end, and they have given us a cost proposal to finish the project up in its entirety and have asked for an additional $42,500. We have taken a look at that and feel like it's reasonable. Some of this work has actually already been performed. The good news in all this, as I mentioned in work session, is that some of the redesigns that were required to correct the survey problems resulted in reductions of quantity to the contractor, and we feel like those will result in a credit coming back on the contractor's bid items, so that we will see some sort of offsetting credit come out of this. I don't have a dollar amount for that, but I would suggest at this point, I think that number will be significant. So there will be some netting of this number between engineering and actual construction.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please, Bob.
Yes, sir. Up next is our annual chemical purchase. This is something we do every year. It is done for a couple of reasons. One, these are the bulk chemicals that we use in both the water and wastewater plant for production, cleaning water, producing drinking water, all the above. You can imagine some of these get used in significant volumes. By doing it this way, we avoid having 1 or 2 agenda items for the purchase of specific chemicals every time we meet. So we authorize this once a year. All of these were bid publicly. We have listed for you the low bidder as came in for each specific chemical. We do make a note in here that if we do find a cheaper alternative or a cheaper supplier, that we will seek to use them, but we will come back to you and let you know, hey, we found this for less, and would like your approval to use it. The bids are somewhat in line with what we expected. We did have a few that had significant price increases, as I mentioned before. We saw a 30% increase in chlorine gas cost and a 41% increase in our dry fluoride chemicals. So those were a little more than we expected, and will, put some pressure on our chemical budget, but we do make allowances for things like this to happen when we prepare the budget. So I do think, despite those 2 rather significant increases, we will be okay with the money we've allocated thus far this year.
Okay. Any questions for Bob on this item? And if there are none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve chemical purchase.
Motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Next up is our Center Road pump station improvements. The city assumed ownership of a pump station on Center Road from Bartow County several years ago. We have been operating that for several years, and this year in particular, we have seen significant growth in demand serviced by this pump station. The pump station supplies all the water for our high-pressure system, which is more or less on the 75 side of 41, if you want to think of it that way. It does service a large segment of Highway 20 going out to the county line. It services the higher elevations of Main Street around Kroger, Komatsu out on that end as well. So it's a growing area for both of us. The growth in that demand is making us take a look at this pump station because we're going to need to put on additional capacity. And the hydraulic modeling that we did for that, there were some efficiencies that can be gained by changing some of the plumbing that was put in place because the plant or the pump station was originally owned by the county. We can take out the meters and the check valves that separated the two of us at the time. That work should gain us approximately 1 million gallons a day in capacity with what's there currently. We took bids for the material needed for that. The low bid was from Core and Main for $6,399.20, and I'm telling you, if we can get 1 million gallons out of $6,000, that is a win. I would definitely recommend we do that.
Every day. All right, thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next one, Bob.
Yes, sir. We have a non-potable pump. This pump basically is what moves process water around the plant. It actually takes treated wastewater and pushes it around the plant. The pump runs 24/7. It never turns off. We last rebuilt this pump in 2015. We took bids for the rebuilding of this pump and got a low bid from Goforth Williamson in the amount of $13,940. Recommend that for your approval.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, and if not, a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Continue on, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. DNC restock number 6. That's the 6th one of this calendar year. This particular one is for yoke valves and small brass fittings. This stuff is primarily used to build new meter settings and to repair existing meter settings. We had 5 bids. The low bid came from Core and Main in the amount of $9,458. Recommend that for your approval.
Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Last one for you, Bob.
Last one. Last up tonight is our number 2 high service pump at the water treatment plant. This pump began giving us intermittent problems, gosh, probably a month or so ago. It completely failed on us several weeks ago. We had multiple companies come out to diagnose the problem. Finally had Fox Systems come out. They were able to chase it down and traced it back to a faulty vacuum contactor. Fox gave us a price for installing the part and the part itself for $11,235 and recommend that for your approval.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, and if not, a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Porter, you've got the next one, and why don't we we'll just have you stay up here and do the 4 that, no, you've got more than Bob tonight.
I was trying to tie Bob's record there.
Ooh, you're gonna break it. Yeah, we'll do all your stuff, and then we'll call Rebecca up to do that.
Sure.
How about that?
Okay. A couple items for the new fire station 3 that's being under construction. One of those, the first item is appliances for the station itself, and Sam Franklin's is a low bidder at $13,009.49. These are going to be 2014 SPOS funds.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
The gear washer extractor for the new fire station, Chief Carter has gone out. Tri-State Laundry Company is the one that he recommends. It's a sole source. Again, this is 2014 SPOS monies. The total cost is $11,791, and he recommends the mayor have authority to sign the sales agreement with Tri-State Laundry Company.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Next item, Mayor, I have is the public library roof replacement. This was sent out for bids. We received
like 7 bids. One was a unqualified bid. The low bid, just replacing the roof itself, is $254,266, which is over our budgeted amount. We have found some, going up there with Gary Lipscomb with Public Works, myself, and meeting with contractors various times. There's some issues where there on the left side, you got an actual old air conditioning unit, but the water sitting there, that part needs to be tapered because the water sits there and it'll eventually ruin that roof. It won't last as long as it should. That's $7,500 to put a tapered insulation on from the low bidder. There's additional items to remove the existing air conditioner units that's up there and the old electrical conduits and the couple items. That brings the total cost to $266. I have some additional estimated numbers, and it's really until they tear down. There's 2 roofs, old roofs up there, until they start tearing it down. I would like to get a budget to approval not to exceed $300,000. As discussed in the work session, the grant is $119,500 that the library, and working with the city council and the legislature, has been able to fund that. I realize there's some discussion about trying to see if the county, we can see if the county would contribute to this cost. We really won't know the bottom line until the roofer gets up there and starts tearing down the old roof and see what additional, costs there are to fix some of the areas that we've had roof leaks in the past several years. The original building, I think it was built in the 60s, and the new building was built 15 years ago, so it's kind of replacing some parts of the new building, the walkways and all of that on the newer section.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on this item? If not, a motion is in order.
Make a motion to approve the not to exceed 300,000 with recommendation that staff continue to seek some additional funding if possible. That's okay. Can I put that in the motion?
You just did.
Yeah, I did.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Next item, my mayor, is the property insurance claims. We had a settlement on a recent claim that's been ongoing for a couple years. Our portion of that's the deductible of $25,000, and also with the motion would be to approve the settlement agreement that Keith has reviewed. Other claims, we had some minor claims that have been going on. Is $4,001.64. And also we had a recent sewer backup. The total cost of that is $42,307.65. It's being recommended to pay that claim. Total is being recommended for approval this evening, $71,309.29, plus the approval of the settlement agreement with on the Jonathan Parker claim.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Continue on, Dan, please.
Yes, sir. We would like to purchase, the fire department would like to purchase a Know Before security awareness training. This allows our staff to work with this company to send out the additional cybersecurity emails that kind of look like fake emails, but they're really very well crafted. It's a cost of $15.30 per email address. We anticipate the cost not to exceed $6,120. But as we continue to try to address any concerns we may have and to keep tracking and testing employees, this is a recommendation I would approve to spend this additional cost, additional dollars this year.
Okay. Would this be, you anticipate this being a recurring cost year after year, just kind of part of what we do as diligence?
We do. We're just going, it's something, right now, this is a 1 year. We'll try it and see if it works with this company, and if it does, then we will probably bring it back for a future.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Not a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item, Dan.
Yes, sir. We had been recommended to bring back some health insurance or wellness proposals for 2020. There's a couple options that were sent in your agenda packets. I know there was some discussion at the work session. If all I really need to get is approval on city council how you want to proceed, and then get to approval for the mayor and the city attorney to review the contract with the selected vendor, and then move forward with what we want to do to let our employees know that at the open enrollment meetings the next couple of weeks.
What does council wish to do?
I'll make a motion to keep our current incentive program, but I would like, prior to the next time we talk about this, if I'm up here or whoever's up here, I'd like to have an employee poll.
Okay.
See if they want to participate. Is it something they want to do? Or is it something that's just disruptive and they don't? I do understand the benefits of the city and to them for having it, but I am curious of how they feel about it.
Okay, we can take care of that.
All right, got a motion, a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion, everybody say aye? Sorry. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Porter?
Aflac voluntary insurance coverage. Again, this is a voluntary insurance coverage that we offer to our employees. They pick up 100% of the costs. With One Digital coming in as a new broker, they recommend continue on, but using Aflac as a group policy, which the premiums are slightly less than what we have for the single policies that are out there through an individual Aflac carrier. I would recommend, since we have a number of employees that's in 2002 been under the Aflac policy, to be given the option of maintaining the existing coverage and same premium. It's a payroll deduction. It's not really any additional cost to the employees. It's an additional payroll deduction the employee elects. And then also then to allow One Digital to begin selling this Aflac group policy, the Aflac cancer insurance and Aflac insurance policy that they have recommended.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Last one for you, Dan.
Yes, sir. The Telenet camera installation at the water department came in a little bit higher, do some additional work out there. The total cost of this invoice was $9,771.61 and recommended for your approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Bolander.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the bid for the 2020 calendar. Bids were requested from the local printers. We received one bid from New Dimension Printing. The total was $9,057.25. Postage is estimated to be about $1,650 for it, for a total of $10,707.25. This is a budgeted item, and your approval is recommended.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Bolander on this? And if not, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Reinhardt, finish us out here today.
Honorable Mayor and Council, we have several vehicles within the departments that need to be replaced. The garage advertised bids September the 18th through October the 4th. 6 vendors returned bids. Some, not all of them bidding on all 6 vehicles. You've got the Bill Trot, these garage superintendent's notes in front of, included in your packet. I won't go over those. The consensus was, after he talked to the department heads, is that there were some issues with some of the vendors that bid on some of the vehicles. And the consensus also was to purchase all the vehicles through Prater Ford in Calhoun. They're local. We've dealt with them before. If we have issues, they basically seem to be on top of things and make the vehicles right for us. The total bid package for for the vehicles to be purchased through Prater Ford is $205,480.17. These are all budgeted items, and the following vehicles will be purchased through the lease purchase program through GMA, the gas department, administration, and public works vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Tom on this? If there are none, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Final item, please.
And finally, we have a Dodge vehicle that has been advertised on GovDeals twice. No bids have been received on either time it's been placed on GovDeals. It's been parted out, has no motor, has other issues. Essentially, nobody wants to buy it because there's essentially nothing there. I'm asking for your I'm actually recommending that the garage be allowed to take it to a scrapyard to get off our books and to basically get rid of it.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. I almost encourage them to just say to decline that, so you just have to have that car sitting there on your books. I know that would drive you absolutely batty, wouldn't it?
It'll be in the way of the garage, so I'm fine with it. It's up sitting in my parking lot.
Wouldn't it eventually become a loss and help our books?
Do what?
Wouldn't it eventually become a negative and help our books?
Could be.
I'm shocked no one wants to buy it.
Very fine line between priceless and worthless. Any other business that needs to come before council this evening? Do want to remind everybody, I was going to forget, didn't you? Monday is Veterans Day, so city offices will be closed. But also want to thank those and everybody take time to remember those that did serve and in service to our country, and for all those that are putting their lives on the line for our safety every day, we thank you. So if there's nothing else, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourned.